I'm back! Welcome back to Wattpad Wednesdays! Okay, welcome back to Wattpad Wednesdays. I got a request to make a video on character and storylines and writing something that doesn't feel basic and overdone on the world of Wattpad where there are so many stories. So it kind of feels like everything has been overdone, but I promise you it is not. I just want to not start my sentence with That's what I would really like to do. I want to start by saying that even if you write a story where you feel like the plot isn't that original, no one else is going to be able to write a story the way that you write a story. That's what makes it so magical. That was cheesy. Even if you were given the exact same plot points as somebody else, the story is going to be different. It would still result in two totally different stories. So try not to stress too much about, oh, I need all these original ideas, I need to have really unique characters, I need to have
the special sauce.
The special sauce.
I just said that.
Because at the end of the day, you are the special sauce. Nobody else can write whatever it is the way that you write it. My eye keeps twitching. So just focus on honing your own writing voice, and that is where the originality really shines. On that same note, if you're inspired by something, don't worry too much about, are people gonna think that I'm copying this? Is it totally obvious that I was inspired by this? Because most likely it's not going to be obvious. Most likely people aren't going to, see that right away unless you've really taken from whatever it is that has inspired you. And the fact is, everything is inspired from something. All of my stories have been inspired from other things. It's just a matter of taking that little spark of an idea that you get from whatever it is that you've read or watched, etc. What else would you do with it except for read and watch it?
Listen.
Listen?
I literally just said that.
Inspired by listening.
Stop.
Take that little spark of an idea and make it into something that is your own. And on top of that, all stories have pretty similar beats. They have pretty similar structures. If you compare two stories and the way that the character arcs are and everything like that, if you really take it down to the bare bones, everything ends up being pretty similar because that's just the way that story structure works. Which brings me to my second tip, which would be to study up on story structure. Have I been looking at the camera or the little flash thingy? I think I've been looking at the flash thingy. Well, then it's fine because it's like I'm not staring directly into your soul. Studying up on story structure will really help take your story to the next level. If your story has structure and follows the basics of character flaws and character arcs and all that good stuff, then even if it's not the most original content in the world, even if it's just your standard YA, which I write a lot of, it's still gonna feel special because your characters are gonna feel real, three-dimensional, and the storyline is going to matter. It's not just gonna be a bunch of events, thrown together for who knows what reason. It's gonna have real purpose, and that at the end of the day is what can really bring a story from basic to something that it can be really meaningful to a reader. When it comes to looking at story structure and learning about story structure and all that good stuff, you've probably seen this before. If you have been looking into writing advice, cannot recommend it enough. I can't recommend it enough. It really brought me into the next level of writing. It's good. It's great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Use it all the time. If I'm plotting a novel, that is right next to me. If you can't get your hands on that, there are so many helpful videos on YouTube about story structure that, you're gonna pull through. You'll be okay. My top recommendation as far as YouTube goes would be Abby Emmons. I'll link her channel down below. Before I got Save the Cat, her videos were my absolute go-to. I used her videos all the time, took tons of notes. She definitely helped me understand more about writing three-dimensional characters, plots that have a real purpose, all that good stuff. So I will link Goodreads, Save the Cat, and Abby Emmons' YouTube channel down below. But like I said, there are tons of resources online. These are just my top 2 favorites. If you're in the stage where you're still really looking for inspiration for a story, I would say take a look at your favorite things to watch or read and grab elements from those and start to think, how can I put this together and make something new from it? It's like
don't say it.
Making a child.
It's really not.
Yeah, just mix elements from your favorite shows and books and movies and all that stuff. Create something of your own from the things that you love. What is that word?
Consuming?
Consuming? Sure. The things that you love consuming. If you get inspired by multiple things instead of just one thing, it really helps you feel more like you're putting something original together, because I mean, you are. If you pull from multiple sources and you're like, I want a romance like the couple in this book, but I want them to also have to go through this kind of conflict from this book, and then also there's aliens like in this book. All these separate things become one thing, and that is your thing. Call from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Another way that really helps with getting inspiration that can really just send you right into a very original idea, a plot that you never would have thought of, is writing prompts. Because no 2 people are going to look at the same writing prompt and be able to formulate the exact same story. When you're just given one sentence or one little inkling of a plot idea, your gears really have to start turning, and it can churn out some really original ideas and plots that you never would have thought of otherwise. Writing prompts are a great way to get inspired and really train that part of your brain that is the creative part in charge of creating all the ideas. That's another thing that I want to say. Being creative isn't just this magical trait that some people are given. It's not Sims. I wish it was. I wish that I was given the creative trait and then I just, had that ability. But it is something that you have to work at. Occasionally you will just get, bam, an idea out of nowhere. But most of the time, when it comes to formulating ideas and especially working on plots, your brain is working. It's not something that just, comes naturally to anybody. It's something that you have to focus on and you have to really think about. And that process, why am I doing that? Now I can't stop. Help. That process of just looking at random writing prompts and whatnot, and then formulating ideas off of it, even if it's not something that you're planning to go through with, even if it's just a little exercise, that can really help you activate that part of your brain. My 6th
It def has not been 6.
piece of advice would be to remember that comparisons will always happen. Even if you are writing something that you feel like is very original, people will compare it to things. Things that you haven't even watched, things you haven't seen. I would say 98% of the things that people will say, oh, this book reminds me of this on my stories, I haven't seen them. And, that just kind of loops me back to one of my first points, that stories at the end of the day are all pretty similar. They have similar beats and whatnot, and you're not going to be able to ever get away from the comparisons. So try not to worry about it. And actually, if people say that your story really reminds them of something, you can lean into that. If you look at movie posters or book blurbs, a lot of the times they will have that little comparison, like, oh, this is great for fans of Stranger Things. And then people who like that piece of media know, oh, well, let me read this, because if I love whatever it's being compared to, then I'll probably like this too. So you can actually really draw in more of an audience that way. And people who come from that recommendation, they're not going to be mad if your story reminds them of whatever piece of media you compared it to that drew them in the first place. That's what they're looking for. Yeah, so it may seem a little nonsensical, but my best piece of advice for writing something original is to not worry so much about it being original. Just focus on writing what you want to write, and it's guaranteed that nobody else is gonna write it the way that your brain has created it. And I would say don't worry so much if you feel like your story turns out to be kind of tropey or to really play on certain expectations of whatever genre you're writing in, because your audience probably isn't going to care. They're probably not going to be upset about it because they go to that genre because they like what occurs in that genre. So if you're playing into typical elements, don't stress. Don't stress about it, because at the end of the day, it's still your story. It's still going to be unique. It's going to be original because you wrote it. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else left to say. I hope that this video was helpful, especially to the commenter who requested it, and thank you for leaving a request. It made me very happy. And thank you to everyone for subscribing, because I'm already almost at 100 subscribers. I'm like, well, let me know if there's anything specific you guys want to see on the channel, any specific videos or like topics or whatever is cool. I have lots of videos planned, a little more variety coming up, you know, not just tips, but like, you know, variety. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope, thanks for watching. I hope I see you in the next video. That's everything. Bye. That wasn't very smooth.
Let go of me.
Aw, look, he's giving you a little hug.